How are you?
Good. So thanks for talking to us. This is our AC Awards, Afro-Caribbean Special Awards for those who have done well in the community for the year 2024. So AC Awards 2024, we're sharing. This is the first year we are talking to the nominees and potential winners before the event, so we get to know them a bit. And we get our audience to hear from them directly. So what will be the one thing that stands out in your accomplishment professionally or otherwise?
That's a really good question. I would say the one thing that stands out for me is that I'm usually the first in many of the spaces that I find myself in, and in many of the roles that I've progressively grown towards in my career. It's usually just one person that looks like me. So I end up playing the role of leaving the door open and creating a ladder so that many can follow behind me. That's always been my ethos, raise while you rise. And that's really been a massive accomplishment for me that as I've progressively grown and created new opportunities and taken the brunt of those bias, those barriers, those racism, so that someone who I bring in behind me doesn't have to, and they can just do the job with their own merit and their own skill set. So that's a massive, massive accomplishment that I continue to kind of jump into the space of ambiguity to do it for my community and do it for my culture and create alliances, create understandings of our shared lived experience instead of the things that separate us. So a lot of the times it's teaching allies so that when my newer, younger generation of self comes into that space, they're treated with dignity and respect, and they don't have to do some of those primacy, infancy battles that I might have to in recorrecting the space.
Yeah, Alisha, in your work, you are equity, diversity, and inclusion expert, and
Mm.
you've been doing a lot of stuff in that field. For those who don't know this field and other young people who are inspired to do this line of work, what does that mean? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm in corporate finance, and a lot of the times people may not see the parallel of if you're passionate. And I've always been a social activist on the side of my desk, but it's that marriage between how do you bring the activism and that activist self that's inside of you as a human into the workplace. So I've had really unique critical experiences within my career where in banking, you wouldn't think that they would have a DEI arm of the business that's really focused on how do we think about inclusion across the bank, both from a customer, colleague, and community perspective. So that was one of my previous roles. But in the Edmonton market, I lead 400 plus people. So I have the ability to actually model what that is. And that modeling is what matters most. All of us can do that in each of our jobs. And that's where so much of that pride comes when coming into this community. They've never had a Black executive holding this position and title. And in doing that, there's a responsibility where I have to ensure I'm not the last. So, really, it's creating a sustainable, growth based talent acquisition pipeline and pulling people from different sectors to teach a massive organization like the one I have the privilege of working to. Of we can find talent in different sectors. They may not have to go to school for finance, but they know leadership, they know people, and they understand the customer. I can teach them banking. So the DEI's piece and how you bring inclusion to life, you can do that transferably across any job that you're in, whether you're an executive like myself or whether you're just starting out, right? You can be the activist at work.
That's good. So besides your career, are there other things you are interested in or that you do? Fun, community, travel, anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Work is always one part. There's so much more to us as a duality of a human. So for me, I'm big on adventure-based sports and activities. So if there's something wild or crazy, community, when you think about it's predominantly the Black community, and when I was growing up, we didn't really have conversations about doing these types of sports. We didn't go into nature per se to
Even
find
today, I don't know
recreation.
if we do have them.
Right. So I love that interest of being in spaces where maybe it's not necessarily built for me is a massive one. So whether it's rock climbing, you get excited when you see someone else that looks like you there. I like to be the first to show that you can climb with braids and they won't get knotted up in the ropes, or whether it be kayaking or ski doing or any of these big, big, big adventure sports, we can show that we can be Black and in nature, whether it's also from a mental health, yoga, anything fitness, mental health related is massive for me. Reading is a big thing. I'm a massive, massive psychology based behavioral nerd. So I love that aspect. but the giving back, the community piece, I love volunteering, and I get so much fulfillment from that. So between nature, camping, which you get in the beautiful Alberta landscape, that's a big piece, or any sort of adventure sport, something where you're going to hurt yourself, I usually sign up.
Do you have some photos that we can add to your profile for this other side of you?
For sure. Yeah, I'm happy
Please
to share
send
some
us an
photos.
email.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, before we let you go, I know you are super busy. Anything else you want to share before we let you go?
No, I mean, I think it's a big piece. It's such an honor, honestly. It was such a surprise. But it's really, the surprise was just, coming to the Edmonton community. I'm not from here. They brought me in, and I've just gotten the opportunity to meet so many brilliant leaders that I imagine were nominated or that I'll meet the night of the event. So it's just an honor to be thought and be embraced by the community. So it's just infinite gratitude. Thank you for seeing me and seeing what I'm attempting to do and the changes I'm trying to influence within the Edmonton market, because that's the role that I hold and that's our responsibility that we all have. So thank you.
Thank you. All the very best. Keep the good work, and we'll see you on the 28th of September.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See you then.